Hello and good evening, everybody. Hello, Mr. Lee and Mr.
Hi,
Ng.
Benny.
Hi.
Hi.
You are able to hear as well, right?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, so for those who just joined us, if you can hear us, can you just type yes in the comment section so that we can begin. Okay, while we're waiting for the comment, thank you so much, Mr. Lee and Mr. Ng, for joining us in our investor studio tonight, where they will be presenting their first Q to 2021 updates and where the company is moving forward. All right.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for responding, and welcome everybody. And I hope that today's session that you will have more updates on what's happening in the Techbond and what will be their business strategy moving forward. I'm sure Mr. Lee, who is the deputy managing director, right, for Techbond, and we have Mr. Ng, who is the group finance director, joining us tonight. All right, and before we start, I think Mr. Lee will do the presentation in a short while. So you guys, if you have any questions, you can type in the questions, and then we will try to direct them after Mr. Lee's presentation, after Techbond's presentation. Of course, questions only related to the presentation today, lah. All right, and but before we start, let me just give you a brief on what Techbond Group does. Okay, so basically they're an adhesives and a bonding company. I'm just going to show you, and they were listed in December 2018, so 2 years already, right? So it's going to be
Yes.
an anniversary this year, this month itself. Congratulations, guys. So yeah, I'm just going to share with you a little bit on if you are on our equity tracker platform, you should also be able to see, their financial reports. All right, and of course, they only been for 2 years, so we can also see their quarterly reports. And of course, today we're going to have an update from them. All right. Okay, now if you look at the yearly performance, you look at the turnover actually between the 2 years, we can see the turnover has slightly declined, right? But the net profit has actually gone up quite substantially, about more than 30%. Okay, and if you look at their operating cash flow, is very healthy, but they did quite a lot of investing activities, in this year itself, right? And if you look at the quarterly, they have done quite well as well. Right, so if you look at the current quarter on September 2020, that's what we have. We've seen the turnover has increased over the quarters, right? Especially this year, I think they are a record quarter for Q1 in September to 2020, right? And net profit has also quite stable over the quarters, right? And what is interesting is that their share price has actually gone up, right? Their listing or the IPO price was 66 cents and it's currently trading at 128, right? So it has almost jumped double, or it has actually gone more than double, right? Even gone up to about 143 a few weeks ago, and now it's trading at 128. So we are seeing a very good growth in terms of share price, and we also look quite a healthy financials. So this is where we're going to get update from them and see what's ahead for Techbond. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna basically just hand this over to Mr. Lee to do his presentation, and of course, anyone who have any questions, you can type it down, and we'll bring those questions after his presentation. All right. So, Mr. Lee, it's over to you right now.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Siming, and I will be giving you a brief today about Techbond. Okay. Some of the slide I'll give it a skip. Those will be most of the fact sheet. In the case where we have any question, we can discuss after the presentation. Okay. Techbond was founded in year 1996 by our MD, Mr. Lee Seng Tai, and we started off with water-based adhesive, mainly for woodworking application in the earlier years. Subsequently, in year 2004, we shifted our manufacturing. In fact, we actually expanded our manufacturing to Vietnam. The same thing, water-based adhesive, and then we expanded into hot melt adhesive subsequently when we see that there is a need for us to diversify into different applications. In year 2018, Techbond went listed in the main market of Busan, Malaysia. So what do we do in Techbond? Techbond, our focus is only in industrial adhesive, mainly industrial adhesive. So we divide into 3 different segments. The first one will be water-based adhesive. Second one will be hot melt adhesive. The third one will be sealant. So in our key business segment, you can see our segregation will be into industrial adhesive and sealant. So I'll explain in a bit detail later. So what are the differences between all 3? The second thing we have in our key business segment will be supporting products and services. And these are some of the supporting products and services that we provide to our customer to ensure that we are actually supporting them well and tie them into our ecosystem. Okay. So what is water-based adhesive and hot melt adhesive? Water-based adhesive will be something that has water in the product. So anything when you add water into the system, it will become a water-based. For example, if you take Milo powder and you add water into the Milo, it will become a water-based Milo. Okay, and if you add solvent into it, it will become solvent-based. So what we manufacture here is water-based adhesive, whereas hot melt adhesive is something that is 100% solid. That means we need heat or hot to melt it. Okay, without it, it is in solid form. Until you heat it or melt it, it becomes liquid form. So in order for the adhesive to be able to apply onto any substrate for adhesion to occur, you need to make it into liquid form so that it can be spread onto the substrate. And then when another piece of substrate comes over, then you can stick the 2 pieces together where the adhesive will flow into different grains or both substrates. Then when it dry off, it will solidify. It's the same concept to water-based adhesive. Water-based adhesive is in the state of liquid form. Therefore, when you apply onto substrate, for example, wood pieces like this, when you apply onto the surface, it will absorb. And when another piece of wood comes over to put on it, the water-based adhesive will absorb into another piece of substrate as well. Slowly, when the water evaporates, then whatever remaining will be a solidified adhesive that holds both substrate together. Okay, so this will be the main difference between water-based and hot melt adhesive. Industrial sealant. There are 3 types of industrial sealants that we have in our company. We have water-based sealant, we have solvent-based sealant, and we have modified hybrid sealant. Water-based sealant and solvent-based sealant will be the same concept that I've just explained just now. It is the carrying system that is different. So water and solvent will be the carrier of the whole adhesive or the whole sealant system. Okay, whereas modified hybrid sealant is something more special. It actually uses moisture to react and cure the whole system. You can actually see some of our videos in our YouTube channel. So you can search Techbond in YouTube channel and you can find some of the application of our modified hybrid sealant. Next, I'll be talking about supporting products and services. Supporting products and services will be those products that we provide to our customer. So I'll give you an example. If our woodworking customer who buys adhesive from Techbond, what we will do is that we will provide them an equipment that they can actually spread their glue onto the wood. Because last time, without all this equipment, they will have to use brush to brush the glue onto the wood. Whereas with this piece of equipment, you can apply the adhesive automatically, just run through into the machine and it will apply onto the wood surface. This will actually help our customer to improve their efficiency and also to improve the consistency of glue applied onto the substrate. Also, they can control the glue weight on each of the piece of wood that they apply. So this will help them minimize the rejection rate. So these are all the supporting products that we provide to our customer. Whereas in terms of service, we will have to do service on the equipment. In the other industry, we actually help our customer to service some of their equipment that is related to glue as well. So these will be the supporting products and services that we can actually tie our customer together with us in a form of partnership, that we work together towards a solution. Okay. So what sort of industry that Techbond serve in the adhesive market? The first one, or the biggest segment that Techbond is serving, is woodworking segment. So if we look at wood industry, very often anything that is using wood will need to use glue. Okay, so if we look at, for example, this piece of wood, this is actually 5 pieces of wood sticking together. Okay, if we look from the side or here, you can actually see the 5 different pieces of wood sticking together. So this sort of application is actually used in the door frame and window frame of overseas market, especially in the winter countries. They use this sort of application. The reason is, wood is something that is coming from nature. It will expand and it will contract. So if we use a piece of solid wood without lamination, a big block of wood, what happens is that when the outer environment during the winter is cold, and when the inner environment in the house, when the on heater is warm, what happens is that the whole piece of wood will bend over. Okay. Therefore, when you actually use glue to apply or to laminate each of the pieces together, what happens is that it will pull each other together. When it expands, it will expand together. When it contracts, it will contract together. So this will be one of the benefits of using glue. Now, glue is also used in MDF board, also used in chipboard. So those glue will be actually serving to help reduce waste. So we can actually put all the waste together and make it into something commercially sellable, which is the MDF board and chipboard. So if we look at door, for example, nowadays door, they are using MDF board and chipboard in some of the cheaper doors, okay, and some of the designing or the designer door. Some of them even use honeycomb in the door itself, and then they laminate a piece of wood or a different texture wood in front of it. So all these are actually using glue. Okay. In the woodworking segment, glue is also used in panel furniture where they laminate paper overlay on top of it. So most of our kitchen cabinet furnitures, you can actually see that we are able to choose the skin on top of those wooden doors or wooden tables that we want. And this whole piece will be using glue to laminate on it. So that will be the woodworking segment. The second largest segment that we actually sell to will be the paper and packaging industry. Paper industry, for example, the toilet paper core. Okay, it is actually a big piece of paper where you put glue on it and you roll into a roll. So that can be used for toilet tissue core. You can use it for bunting cores. So those will be paper. The paper bags that we use from day-to-day life, those will be using adhesive to seal the bottom flap as well. That will be under the paper industry. Packaging industry, we can see it everywhere in the hypermarket where they used to seal, for example, cartons, or they used to seal straws onto the brick or onto this packet drink that we are drinking. The 2 dot of glue is actually using hot melt adhesive to stick the straw on it. Of course, we have bottle labeling. Most of the ketchup sauce, chili sauce, or beer bottles, they are actually using glue or adhesive to stick the label onto it. Okay. Next, I will move to automotive industry. In our application, we actually sell adhesive to automotive industry indirectly, where we sell to the company where they make bitumen sheet and they apply the glue on the substrate, where they can actually stick it to the car door steel to reduce vibration of the automotive or the vehicle. Personal care will be diapers, sanitary napkins. Both diapers and sanitary napkins uses a lot of glue in the whole piece of the product. Okay, because if we can take diapers for an example, diapers on the top sheet, the top layer, you need the liquid to absorb into the diapers. Whereas at the back sheet or the bottom sheet, you need the liquid to prevent it from coming out, where they actually use PE or the plastic sheet PE. Okay, Therefore, it is a different composition or different material where where you want to make it a diapers, you have to laminate it using glue to make into one piece of constructed diapers. The same concept goes to sanitary napkin. Building and construction, mainly used for flooring application, pucker, tiles, or even sealant that we use to seal our kitchen cabinets, the gap, or to stick mirrors onto wall. So those will be under building and construction industry. We have mattress industry, where they actually use our glue to stick pocket spring together. We have cigarette industry, where most of the cigarette will be using glue for side seaming and cigarette tipping. Okay. At this moment, Techbond is selling to about 15 countries or more, and we are adding to this list. Okay, I'll give this a skip. So these are some of our trademarks, different trademarks. Now, I'll hand it to Kun for the financial highlights.
Hi, everybody. For financial year 2020, this is a disaster year for most of the company. A lot of companies change their behavior to survival. A lot of companies take the cost-cutting measure, and some of the company even close down. For Techbond, we are lucky. We are continue to remain financially healthy without laying off any of our employees.
Okay, Kun. Sorry to interrupt, but will you be able to hide that stop sharing button that you see on your slide? You just so that they can view the whole thing. Just hide.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Before we go into your financials, right? Because we see Simeng has already presented what the company is all about and the adhesives that you have. So maybe I want to put some questions regarding the product first before we go into the financials. Will it be okay?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, here we have Jason asking, right? Can you share with us what is your competitive edge? Why use Techbond adhesive? Do you have any patents for the technology that you guys have?
Okay. The advantage of using Techbond versus our direct competitors, for example, Henkel, HB Fuller, the main selling point or the main advantage of working with us is actually our flexibility and our capability of doing R&D, okay, to our customer. Because most of the time, when we go to a bigger or so-called multinational companies, they will have limitation that they want to adapt into your specific application. So in order to buy from a supplier, some supplier will say, okay, these are the range of products that we have, so you choose one, okay, and they will not customize for you. For Techbond, the competitive edge or advantage that we have is actually that we can customize the product for our customer, and that's where we make our margin as well. You can see that in our financial, most of the years we are able to retain the 15% profit margin because we are going into some very specific and niche customer to help them build certain application to make the right product for them. Because some customer, sometimes they are actually using a product that is overkilling the needs of their product. And by us customizing to them, it can help them to save costs and at the same time achieve what they want to achieve in terms of a standard or the international standard. Okay.
All right, thank you. One more question regarding this. Also, your products. How many percent is actually from outside of Malaysia? And KCD is asking also, how many percent is your sales in USD?
We are doing about 75 to 80% export. So most of our export sales will be in USD. There is no other form of currency. I mean, that is a major one. Okay. Then import as well is about the same thing, 75 to 80% import. So to answer, I mean, perhaps to also let you guys know, in terms of Forex, we are quite naturally hedged operation-wise.
All right. Okay, thank you, Simeng.
Okay.
All right, Kun, maybe you can continue with your presentation on the financials. Thanks.
Okay, I continue for the financial year 20, we can see there is a drop in our sales. This is actually due to the MCO start in March. So during the MCO, we only allowed to operate at 50% capacity. But However, we are able to increase our profit after tax from 7.1 million to 10.7 million to 15% profit after tax margin. This is actually due to a lot of effort has been put by our R&D department to come out the formulation which provide us a better profit margin. And at the same time, for the financial year 2020, we are very selective on those customers which can provide us with the profit, better profit margin and collection, especially at this very difficult time. Collection is very important. For the last 2 weeks, we have released our financial year 21 Q1 result. So our financial result has been back to 22 million, which have been one of the highest in our profit record. So for our profit before tax would have been 4.7 million, which would be the highest ever quarterly profit before tax recorded since our listing in December year 2018, after normalizing 1.2 million unrealized forex losses. And as at 30th September year 2020, we sit on cash of 55.4 million with the zero borrowing. And 2 weeks ago, we also declared we declared our first single tier interim dividend of 1 cent in respect of financial year 2021. Let us look at our balance sheet. Our financial position remains strong. You look at our total asset. Our total asset has been increased to 149 million, with the total liability of only 8.4 million. And none of our property is actually charged to the bank. So we are in a net cash position. As at 30th September year 2020, we have net cash of 24 cents per share. And look at our trade receivable. Even in this very difficult time, a lot of companies, they are facing collection problem, but we are able to maintain our collection at 68 days, which is same as last year. I think a lot of companies which they are facing a huge collection problem. In Techbond, we are always very concerned of the financial position of our company. So we need to take care of our customer. At the same time, we have to reward our shareholder. In November year 2019, we have adopted a formal dividend policy of distributing up to 30% of our profit after tax. And in financial year 2020, we have declared and paid a dividend of 2 cents per share in financial year 2020, which representing a 43% payout of our net profit after tax. The next topic is about the growth plan. So Mr. Lee will explain more about the growth plan of our Techbond.
Okay, Barry, you have any question that you want to ask regarding the financial side, or can I just proceed to growth plan?
Yeah, there are questions, but I want to group them later on to answer. If there are any questions regarding the financials, you can push it down. There's actually one question that came in earlier. This is actually from Eddie C. The NPAT over the last third quarter is apportioned at the same rate. Any reason why for that?
NPAT.
Well,
That's right. NPAT over last 3 quarters.
Yeah, was it apportionate?
What do you?
What do you mean by NPAT?
Yeah.
Your net profit after tax.
Net profit after tax, yeah.
Over the last 3 quarters is apportionate at the same rate. What do you mean?
What sort of rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean by
So maybe Eddie, you can describe your question a little bit more, so that we can actually understand the question. What do you mean? What kind of apportionment are you asking for? All right. So other than that, I think we can move on.
I'll proceed at this moment. Okay.
Yeah. Bill. Okay. One more. Sorry. Yeah. Just came in only. Okay. Bill Parrish is asking. Your investing in activities have increased significantly. From 2020 against 2019. Can you basically mention what were you investing in?
This is actually due to our investment in VSIP2, our main project of our IPO proceed. So the mainly is the construction of the factory building and the plant and machinery incurred in our VSIP2 project.
All right. Hope that answers your question, Bill. So it's mostly for the spending from the IPO proceeds, yeah, for the expansion. So, okay, yes, Siming, I think you can start going on. You can continue.
All right. Thank you. All right. So the next thing we'll talk about is growth plan. That means where are we using this money that we raised from the IPO? So year end of 2018, we actually raised close to 40 million ringgit for the building and construction of this VSIP2 factory complex. And this photo that we see here is actually the real photo, the completed photo of our new plant in Vietnam. Okay. So what do we do in this new plant? The main objective of this plant that we built in Vietnam is actually to make our own polymer, which is a vertically upstream product to Techbond. In the past, we have to buy polymer from our supplier to make into water-based adhesive. Okay, but then our plan in the future is that we will make our own polymer. And what is the whole objective or idea behind this move? Okay, the main reason that we actually move vertically upstream, of course, ultimately is to help improve the profit margin. That is the whole ultimate aim. But then there are details that goes into this idea why we want to make it. Okay, the first one will be that we have a greater control over the quality, properties, and characteristic of the polymer. Now, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times when we talk to supplier, okay, what they will do is that they will give you a list. Okay, these are the polymer that I have. You choose one and you buy one. You buy what you need. So we have to adjust from those polymer to make it into a product that we can sell or commercially sellable. However, sometimes we think that some of the polymer is either overkilling, that means the price is too high, where certain requirements that we need, we actually ask our supplier to do it, but they are not able to do it. So that is one of the reasons that if we are able to make our own polymer, we can actually make the right product for our customer. So it's a bit like, you know, the whole, for example, the highway, you can drive only 100 km per hour, for example, but they're giving you a car of 300 km per hour, which you are not using, but you are paying a premium of those vehicle. So in fact, if you can make something that you can drive 120 km per hour, I think that will be just equivalent spec or just right for the customer, that they are able to pass whatever standard they want to pass. Okay, and this is very important in a commercial side. Now, the second thing is actually it will help us to enable us to better meet the requirements of our customers. It's the same concept because, for example, I'll give you an example. If let's say I require a polymer that can make into a pH of neutral pH, and if the whole polymer selection that we have is either say on the alkaline side or acidic side, what I have to do is that I have to mix the other way. For example, if it's acidic side, I have to make alkaline to make it neutral. That means it's additional cost to us. But if I'm able to make something that is just right, then I don't have to incur additional cost into my formulation. Okay, through that, I will have cost saving through reduced transportation, because by making our own polymer, I don't have to order or ship from overseas, come to Vietnam or Malaysia, which I mean, Vietnam is our biggest chunk of portfolio. So that's why we make it in Vietnam, which we can have a huge cost reduction in terms of the transportation. And the fourth, of course, reduce reliance on external suppliers. So this is the whole idea of why we go into making our own polymer. Okay. Now, the next big thing that Techbond is moving into is actually this palm oil-based industrial adhesive. About 2-3 years ago, we started to have this thought of putting or using palm oil to make into an adhesive. But very often when we thought about that, we don't know whether it's workable or not. Until last year, we started to go to MPOB and we started to talk to MPOB or pitch to MPOB about our idea. Then we start to work on something to see whether is it workable. And through there, we actually subsequently managed to come up with a few testing formulation, and we managed to make into our adhesive as well. And we went into agreement with MPOB to sign our agreement on this R&D or technical know-how handover. And today we have our product ready. And this is one of the sample that we managed to make. Is a chair. Okay, this piece of chair is actually using 9 pieces of veneer to stick together. If you can see here, this is actually 9 pieces of veneer. Veneer is actually the skin of the tree, and we are able to make this into a chair. So it's only veneer and glue. We are able to press it, harden it, that you can form it into a piece of chair. Okay. So there are a lot of other applications. So this is the piece of chair where I'm sitting on now. Okay. So there are a lot of applications that we can make using this palm oil industrial adhesive. And in fact, we have tested into different applications. Some has already passed, some yet to confirm. And this is the current update of this whole project. And once we are able to pass all the products, we will start to talk to customer to see how we can commercially make this commercial product that we can sell. Okay. Now it is very important to talk about why we have this thought of going into this direction. If we look at the whole world is actually moving into green. Okay, no matter what products, even our container for food, or even our bottles, drinking bottles, we start to make into BPA free, BPF free, BPS free. There are a lot of different terms that come to it, and the simple idea is actually to make it greener. Okay, and we want to make something that is biodegradable as well, if possible. So you can see that we do not a lot of food or retailers, they do not use plastic straws anymore. They use bamboo straw, they use rice straw or whatnot. You can see the direction is very clear. So where are the biggest market? The biggest market is actually in China, because that's where the most user lies. Okay, to sell chairs, to sell furnitures, ultimately the biggest population will be able to consume the most volume as compared to a smaller population. So China themselves, they're actually moving into this green direction already. Okay, therefore 1/3 of the world population has really been educated, or they are aware of this direction moving into green. Japan has moved into green direction. Even Europe, they are also has moving. They have moved into this green direction as well. So I think we are on the right timing and right track, that we put ourselves or position ourselves into this direction, because we believe this will be the future of adhesive industry. Okay, so this is the whole idea why we move into this formaldehyde-free adhesive, or little to non-formaldehyde, because whatever glue that is used in this sort of application in the past, the chair or MDF board or chipboard, they uses urea formaldehyde glue, which contains formaldehyde. Okay, you can actually search on Google what sort of negative impact that formaldehyde will bring to consumer. Okay, and the whole direction of us moving into this is actually going towards little to non-formaldehyde adhesive. All right, so with that, I'll end the presentation. If you have any question, we can discuss.
All right, thank you, Siming.
Thank you, Benny.
So quite interesting that you're also geared towards the green effort right now.
Yep.
Yeah, even vehicles now are going green, right? There are a lot of countries now that by 2025 and 2030, it's going to be electric cars, and China being one of the biggest consumers right now. So you guys are positioned for this already, lah. All right. So basically, the collaboration that we made with MPOB, you already have your palm oil based adhesives. Is it already been commercialized?
It's not commercialized yet. At this moment, we are working on the formulation, because some of the formulation we have already achieved, but then we have to make it right for our customer. We have already signed with a few potential customer and NDAs where we work on those projects, and if potentially commercially it can be sell, okay, or it can or they are able to achieve the zero formaldehyde, then we will start to commercialize this product. We are still working on a few things that I'm not able to disclose today.
All right, sure. But do you have any plans when do you think this will be rolling out?
Well, for us, we expect ASAP because we have really put in effort, we have really put in money into R&D. And of course, as a company, we look towards commercializing it as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the same for our customer because they have really put in effort to try together with us as well. Yeah.
Okay, but how would you, if let's say this is being rolled out, there's a question actually on CPO prices, right? And now CPO prices are currently at this like 8-year high. How will it actually impact, the cost of having these palm oil-based adhesives? If let's say the price remain high.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually the right thing to think about. But then what we can see now is that the whole material price is increasing, including oil price. So most of the raw material is actually increasing. Whatever adhesive that those woodworking manufacturers are using will be in the trend of increasing as well. Because this is the whole world. It's not only palm oil. I think oil, petrol, and even our logistic, food, everything is increasing. So this is actually, as long as they're moving in the same direction, there will be not much of impact because we can just pass that to the customer.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question here. Of course, now going back to your main business, right? Let me get the question up. Just hold on for a while, yeah.
Yep.
There's a question about the furniture business because, like you mentioned, about 60 to 70% of your adhesives is for the furniture business, right? So, what would be the prospect for furniture companies moving forward? How consistent is the demand?
Okay. For furniture industry, I think in terms of consistency, we can say it's quite consistent based on our past 25 years record. Techbond started off with woodworking adhesive 25 years ago. And until today, 25 years later, woodworking still consists or is still the biggest chunk of our business in terms of woodworking adhesive. In terms of woodworking segment, I think if we ask a woodworking customer, most of them, they have their backlog order all the way until next year. Some of them next year, April, some of them next year, July, some of them end of next year. So in our side, as their glue supplier, we are quite confident and to think that the order will come in consistently for the next half a year. So this at least is what we can see right now, because those are the forecasts that is given by our customer as well.
Okay. Yeah, so we did see, the earlier quarters this year, your revenue and profits have dropped, of course, because of MCO and everybody's affected. But we do see a very sharp jump as well in the fourth quarter, right? Was it because there's this very strong increase in demand for furniture from your furniture customers?
Yes, we can say so. And of course, some of our overseas as well.
Right. So there is this real demand that comes on very strongly after we go into our recovery MCO.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Again, regarding because again you guys have like 60% from in USD, right? So Pei Hui Sun is asking, US dollar is weakening and ringgit is strengthening. Will this affect the profitability of the company?
Regarding this one, we have to look at two parts. One part is the cash flow, the other part is in the operation. In terms of cash flow, so that this will be, for us, this will be most of the time any increase and the decrease in US dollar, this is unrealized profit to us. So there is no cash flow impact, and this is a non-cash item. In terms of operation, as mentioned just now, our operation, our export sales contribute about 70 to 80% of our total revenue. And majority of our raw material is also purchased from overseas, which is trade in US dollar. So we are natural hedged against US dollar in terms of increase or decrease in US dollar.
All right, thank you. We have a question here from Jason. Can you share more on the polymerization plant? Is it 100% for self-use? And how significant it will help in gross and net profit margin upon full operation?
Sure. It will not be 100% for own use. The whole polymer plant capacity, only 30% will be for own use. Remaining 40%, our plan is to make it into an adhesive that we previously cannot sell in the segment because of pricing. Okay, but now that we go into our own polymerization manufacturing, we will be able to tackle that new segment, or it's a virgin segment to Techbond. So that will be 70% already. Remaining 30% capacity, we can actually sell it to outsiders. For example, paint manufacturers, because paint industry, they will have to use a very similar type of polymer as well. So this will be the remaining 30% capacity where we can tackle.
All right. Okay, there's a question here from CK Chang. Actually, now it's got to do with your financials. Can you comment on the higher inventory turnover days?
Okay, at the slide just now, we have higher inventory turnover day. This is actually, in this period, actually during the MCO period, actually there is a shortage in the raw material as well. So luckily we have a proper planning on our inventory planning. So that's why out of this inventory, most of actually for our inventory, so we only keep 30 days finished good for our usual business activity. So remaining is mainly raw material. So this is mainly the raw material which we keep for our operation, like you see, like a quarter for this year. So actually our business is so good for Q1, financial year 21 Q1. So luckily we have sufficient inventory in raw material. If not, then we will be in trouble.
I would like to add on to CK Chang's question. Inventory is something that we actually use it for our advantage most of the times. Okay, if you look at the whole Techbond's financial position, we have a lot of cash. Okay, we have a lot of cash, and many of the times when we see the raw material hitting the bottom low, and when it start to have a V shape going up, that's where we will start to collect all the raw material using our cash. So we use our cash to turn it into inventory for the benefit of the company and shareholders. Because if we do not have this cash position, okay, and we will not be able to do such a move, and ultimately what will happen is that we have to pass the cost to customer, and we may actually come up with a lower profit margin as well. So this is always the case for the past 25 years, and that's why you can see why Techbond is keeping a huge sum of cash in our company.
All right. So basically, you actually have a strategy or a plan to, I mean, of course, use that in cash that you have to actually buy inventory at the lower prices.
Correct.
Yeah, we have our purchase and inventory mechanism to control this thing.
All right. Okay. Now, just to clarify, right, that I know that you're looking into the palm oil based adhesives, but is it an additional product that you have, or are you all moving all towards palm oil based adhesives?
Palm oil based adhesive will be something new, irrelevant to whatever adhesive that we have. And in terms of a market segment, it's also a virgin market, totally irrelevant from our water-based hot melt adhesive. Yeah, so that will be totally new. That is not replacing any of our product.
That means even if it's up, the other formaldehyde product or adhesives will still go on, right?
Correct. Because whatever adhesive that we are going to replace using our palm oil adhesive is not currently we do not have the product. We are not selling into that kind of segment.
Right.
So this will be a total new virgin market or new segment that Techbond is targeting.
Right. Okay. So Derek is asking, right? Is there any cost difference if you move from formaldehyde to palm oil based adhesives? Are they really a cost saving there?
It's not so much of cost saving, it's more of the whole future direction. Our price will be more expensive as compared to formaldehyde glue. But we must always understand it's not about the price. It's about the value that we are able to bring to customer. If we can look back, say few years back, most of the hawker store, when you buy your food or you tapao your food, they will provide you this polystyrene foam type of boxes to pack your hot food. Can you imagine what that kind of a polystyrene foam will bring to your health? Okay, and today people will have to pay 50 cents for a container, and people still pay because it's the value that we bring to our life. Many of the times we do not use in the past maybe we use a lot of plastic bottles, but today nobody uses plastic bottles to bring to work anymore. They buy their own stainless steel bottle, or they buy their own BPA free bottles. So it's not about the price, I think. It's more of the value that we are able to bring to customer, align or in line with the direction that the whole world is going towards.
Yeah. So I mean that's the trend, right? That we are going green. We are trying to use to be more green, right?
Correct. Because ultimately, if we can go into this zero formaldehyde, it will bring a positive impact towards the health of people. Okay, rather than to save 10 ringgit, 20 ringgit, but then you bring a negative impact to your health for the next many years. Formaldehyde is something where it will continue to release from the product for a number of years. It's not that it will release for one day and then it's nothing anymore.
Right. Okay, so Katirasan is asking, what can set you back from large-scale commercialization of palm oil-based adhesives? What maybe would be your hurdle and also the risk involved?
The efficiency of producing this product, because the most important thing is that we have to understand the market. Okay, the market of this sort of product or demand, in fact, is very huge. One customer in one day, they can probably use 60 metric tons to 100 metric tons of adhesive to manufacture their product. And if we are not able to manufacture efficiently in the cost that they are able to take in, then that will be a major pullback. And that is why we come to work together with MPOB to see how we can actually improve or can actually transfer the technical know-how that we can help to improve the efficiency of this product manufacturing.
Okay, so coming with your work to with MPOB, I mean your effort with MPOB. There's a question here from Chang asking again from CK Chang. Asking, how do you protect your palm oil-based industrial adhesives proprietary formulation from your competitors? Do you have to pay MPOB royalty fees?
We are paying MPOB, but not so much of a royalty fee. It's more of a fee for us to work together. In terms of IP, yes, we have, and this is actually together with the MPOB. I think we made an announcement on this as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Derek is asking, who are your closest competitor? And what's your market share? And just we're going to go forward because Pei Hoon is also asking, what's your market share?
Sure.
In this sector.
Okay. Depending on which sector, if we talk about market share, it's always depending on which kind of industry and segment that we are talking about. Because Techbond, we cover quite a wide application and industry as compared to some of our competitors. We have competitors who cover even wider, okay? But then those people who cover even wider, then we will have to look into which country that we are talking about. So if we talk about woodworking segment, in Malaysia, I think our market share is more than 50%. That's what we think is more than 50%. Because for the past 25 years, we are very strong in the woodworking segment for adhesive. Paper and packaging, paper and packaging, we have a different number. Automotive, different number. So it's depending on which one we are comparing against. Now, if we talk about competitors, in our prospectus, I think is listed there as well. We have Henkel, we have HB Fuller, who are directly comparable. And some of the companies we are not directly comparing because it's a different type of glue, or we can say it's a indirect competition. For example, they actually listed 3M as one of our competitor because they are in the glue segment as well. But their glue segment is mainly targeted towards consumer. As for Techbond, we are targeting towards industrial. So it's a different segment that we are competing. I mean, different arena that we are competing.
So it really depends on what segment you're looking at. You don't really have a direct competition.
Correct. We do have direct competition like Henkel and Fuller, like I just mentioned just now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another question we have actually from also from Derek. How would you ensure palm oil supply to your adhesives will not be disrupted? There is always an argument between palm oil used for food supply rather than industrial use.
I'm not so concerned about this issue because ultimately when we want to start, we will go and meet some of the palm oil producer or palm oil supplier to see how we can actually work on the supply consistency of this product. Ultimately, if we really compare to food, glue is actually very small percent or very, very small chunk as compared to the worldwide food supply in terms of palm oil. So I'm not so concerned because I do not think that they will hold us back in order to supply for the food because it's too small to hold. If they really need to hold, they will have to hold the big one. For us, it's too small. So that is one thing. The second thing is that this industrial use, I think, is not so much of a problem because ultimately, if possible, we will actually work with one of the supplier to ensure the consistency. Not so much of disruption. I'm not so worried about that.
Yeah. Okay. And so, I mean, the use is not as big as using it for cooking oil or even for biodiesel, right?
Yeah, correct.
Not looking at the kind of large scale, isn't it?
Correct. I think if we are able to look at the supply of palm oil, we can also see that in the past few months, in fact, the demand is not so high either. Yeah, they are still able to supply. Yeah.
Okay, coming back to Eddie's question, remember talking about the net profit after tax being apportioned? Because if you look at the quarterly results, right, we see like the net profit is always like 2.5 million, about 2.5 million. So was it apportioned or it's just the net profit for that particular quarter?
No. So for this one, that is the net profit, the actual net profit for that particular quarter. So it's not possible. We did not manipulate any of the figure.
Okay, because the revenue is different, right? And then but the net profit has always been quite consistent. I think that's why he's asking lah. Yeah. Okay. There's a question here from let me see here. Derek actually asked a question about the Vietnam woodwork, right? So because Vietnam being your largest customer, can you say that most of the woodwork customers are based in Vietnam also?
No, we cannot conclude that way because we have a lot of woodworking customers in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand, in Cambodia as well. So not so much of only in Vietnam. Vietnam, we also have customers who are doing packaging, labeling and all that. Different customers. Some even in mattress industry. So we are quite diversified when we go to a country because we do not want to have our risk to be too high putting into one basket.
Okay. I know, guys. You have been listed for in Bursa Malaysia for 2 years, but of course you have been in business for 20 over years, right?
Yep.
So I mean now, like after COVID, we have this new normal, and where Bill Parrish is asking, what are the challenges and risks that you see moving forward for this particular sector that you are serving?
Well, in fact, in our industry, there is not so much of these challenges because a lot of our customer they are in the necessity product. Of course, not in the woodworking, but then woodworking they are benefiting at this moment. So I'm not going to talk so much about them. But then the remaining packaging industry, they are quite recession proof. They will continue to move, right? So that is not so much of a big challenge. But then risk is that I think we still have a risk of COVID-19. If let's say it's impacting our customer, then they might have to close down to do disinfection and all that. But then I think it will be bigger of a risk if they will have to stop their production. Otherwise, at this moment, what we see is that most of the plant, in the case or in the event that they are infected, they only close for about 3 days to do disinfection and their plant is back in operation. So not so much of a risk for us.
Okay. Okay, CK Chang is asking, do you get any tax incentive for your R&D spendings?
Okay, for us, actually, the R&D, we have the incentive for the R&D. We get grant from SME Corp, the government, for the subsidize of our R&D equipment. So, and the R&D, actually, the R&D contribute about 1.5% of the total revenue of our Malaysia operation, because the main R&D segment, the R&D department is actually mainly located in Malaysia for the R&D work.
Okay. Oh, we got a lot of questions actually from same people, although we got almost 200 people logging in. These are people who are really interested. CK Chang is asking, how do you distribute your products to more than 15 countries? Is it via direct customer or distribution channels?
Some direct, some distribution.
Hmm.
No fixed concept.
Okay. Derek is asking, what sort of packaging customers you are supplying to? Food only, use food grade chemicals?
I mean, the customer name we cannot disclose.
Yeah.
Then if we say, what do you mean food only use food grade chemicals? I'm not too sure about
That one I also don't really understand. Maybe just answer the first.
Yeah.
Maybe type too fast already.
But packaging wise, what I can disclose is that the application. So if we buy condensed milk, the labeling that we put onto the metal can, that is actually using glue. The straw packaging, the 2 dot of glue to stick on the packet drink, that is using glue. To seal the carton boxes, that is using glue. Ketchup sauce, chili sauce, breweries, they are using glue as well for their labels. So I think those are the application that we can disclose.
Okay. Do you look at the US and European markets? Is there market access to these markets? If not, what are the challenges?
The answer is yes, we are looking into it. But then in the past, that is not our focus, because most of the manufacturing activities is actually happening in the Southeast Asia market. Yeah, so that's where our starting focus. So our focus is always to grow whatever places that we are in, and actually to utilize whatever resources we have to grow it even bigger. Okay.
Okay, great. Yat Lau is asking, how many employees do you have? A percentage of local and percentage of foreign?
In terms of employees in Malaysia, we have about 60 plus. Foreigners, we have about, I think, say 20%, roughly. About 20%. Remaining will be locals.
Yeah, to us, actually, we are not labor intensive. So our labor is very minimum.
Yeah.
So in Vietnam, we have about 50 workers in Vietnam. So in Malaysia, we have about 55 local, and a foreigner. We only have 10 over foreigner in Malaysia.
All right. Okay, so guys, I think most of the questions have been answered. We give you a chance to ask maybe 2 or 3 more questions before we end this. All right. While thinking of a question to ask, maybe I also want to bring up a question from Jason. He basically asked, what would you see yourself in the next 5 years? How does Techbond see yourself in the next 5 years?
Okay. The whole picture, I cannot disclose too much. Okay, but then what I can say is that we want to improve, or we want to grow in our overseas market. That's our main
Right.
focus. Because overseas market, for the past few years, if we look back into our market, is quite consistent. That's the first thing. Second to that is that we have a lower risk doing overseas market because we take cash in advance in terms of giving credits. So that is the main objective. The whole plan is very simple. How we want to grow ourselves. We're going to take whatever product that we have and grow into every country that we possibly can. I think that is the whole plan. And of course, next 5 years, our focus will be very much in our polymer and our this palm oil project as well.
Okay. Derek is asking, going back to the palm oil-based adhesives. So you mentioned a lot on the quality of the raw materials. Palm oil fruits can have inconsistent quality. Contaminants can be high. Are you sourcing your palm oil from the refinery itself?
Our palm oil adhesive will have to go through another process in our manufacturing. That means if in the case that we are able to come up with the product, we will have to make the palm oil into a consistency product, a very consistent product. That means we will have to do value adding manufacturing in our own process. Yeah. So rest assured of that, because that question I think is quite common in every raw materials, even in adhesive. Adhesive is coming from petrol resins as well, which is inconsistent in every raw material, but we will have to make it consistent through the process.
Right. Okay. Another question from CK Chang. Do you produce your glue dispensing equipment in your factory or you outsource it?
Both, depending on what sort of equipment we are talking about.
Okay. Andreas Leonardis, Simeng has already actually explained what are the risks involved in the business and the industry. So you may want to look at the recording later, right? So we don't want to, explain once again. Okay, last question for you guys, Simeng and Kun.
Right.
In the coming year or two, the step up in production, including new products with palm oil base, what would you forecast your growth ratio would be?
Well, this will depend on which product. In the case of a palm oil product, we are very confident because like I mentioned to you just now, one customer can possibly use up to 60 tons or 100 metric tons of adhesive per day. So you can do that calculation, and that is going, I mean, the growth ratio is not going to be a single digit. It's going to be a double digit thingy. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I mean, that's the answer I can give. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So this is not normally the questions that we also have asked our guests, because you guys are being the captain of the industry, right? Running the business, making sure the business growth. What do you think? What keeps you awake at night?
What keeps us awake at night?
Yeah.
I think the whole company ultimately is actually run by people. So the people knowledge or the growth of our people is something that we as the top management always think about, how we can make sure the people perform, how we can make sure the people bring the company to the next level. So people is always, I think, the thing that keeps us awake on how we can actually improve everybody and work as a team to bring the company to the next level.
What about you, Kun?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. D, because the human, the HR is the most important thing, because every company, we need to work together as a team. Then we have to set our mindset, same as the management, then we can grow together.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Lee Simeng and Kun, for joining us tonight and answering the questions. And we really wish you all the best in your future undertakings. All the best to Techbond. And for those guys who have joined us, also thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to download the slides for today, all you need to do is to actually WhatsApp us at 603-8408-2070. All right. I really put in the comment section so that you can look at the number. So once again, please do thank Mr. Lee and Mr. Ng for their time here today. And Simeng, it's really a pleasure talking to you guys. And I wish you all success. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny.
Thank you.